Hi, and welcome to English-Fabule. Are you learning English? Great. Let's learn English with a very interesting story. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and comment. Let's get started.
Have you ever felt lost in a sea of words? Like you're trying to learn English, but it's just too much. You study lists, you read books, but the words don't stay in your head. It feels like trying to catch water with your hands. It slips away. Don't worry, you are not alone. Many people feel this way. Learning new words can be hard, but it doesn't have to be boring or feel impossible. This book is here to help you learn words in a new, clever, and fun way. Imagine you meet a new friend. You want to remember their name, right? You might repeat it a few times. You might think about something that helps you remember. Maybe their name sounds like a flower, or they have a funny smile you can picture. That's already using a clever way to remember. This book is full of those kinds of clever ways, but for words. We won't just give you long lists to memorize. That's the old way, the way that often doesn't work. Instead, we're going to explore how your brain really learns and remembers. Think of your brain like a super powerful computer. It's amazing, but like any computer, it needs the right instructions. It needs a good program to learn best. This book will teach you the best programs for learning words. Why is learning words so important? Well, words are the building blocks of communication. They're like the bricks that build a house. The more bricks you have, the bigger and stronger the house you can build. The more words you know, the better you can understand others, and the better you can share your own ideas and feelings. It's like having a bigger, better toolbox for expressing yourself. Imagine you are watching a movie in English. If you only know a few words, you might only understand a little bit. But if you know many words, it's like turning on the lights. Suddenly, you understand the story, the jokes, the feelings. The same is true for reading books, talking to people, writing emails, and everything else you do with language. Traditional ways of learning vocabulary can sometimes feel like climbing a very steep mountain. You look at a long list of words, and your heart sinks. You try to repeat them over and over, but they just don't stick. It feels like hard work, and it's easy to get discouraged. Maybe you've tried flashcards or writing words many times. These methods can work, but they often miss something important: fun. Learning should be enjoyable. When something is fun, you want to do it more. And when you do it more, you learn better. This book is all about making word learning fun and interesting. We'll use pictures, stories, games, and even a little bit of acting. We'll help you connect words to things you already know, making them easier to remember. We'll turn learning into an adventure, not a chore. This book is also about being clever. It's not just about working hard, it's about working smart. We'll show you how to be a word detective, finding clues about a word's meaning from its parts. We'll show you how to use words you already know to learn new ones. It's like having secret codes and shortcuts that make everything easier. This book is your guide to a whole new world of words. It's a journey of discovery, and it's going to be fun. Get ready to unlock the power of your amazing brain and become a word master. Let's start learning cleverly, together. Are you ready? Let's go. 2. Using your brain. Our brains are amazing tools. They help us to think, feel, and learn. In this chapter, we will look at how your brain helps you to remember things, especially words. Understanding how your memory works can help you learn new words in a smarter way. First, let's talk about memory. You have different types of memory. Think about when you meet someone new. You hear their name, and you remember it for a short time, maybe just a few seconds. This is called short-term memory. It's like a temporary space for information. It doesn't hold much, and it doesn't last long. Imagine it like a small desk, where you can only keep a few things at once. Then, there's long-term memory. This is like a big storage room in your brain. When you want to remember something for a long time, like words you learn in English class, you need to move them from your short-term memory to your long-term memory. This is how you keep information for days, weeks, or even years. How does your brain move information to long-term memory? There are some key ideas that can help. 1. Association. Your brain loves to connect things. When you learn a new word, try to connect it to something you already know. For example, if you learn the word tree, think of a big tree in your garden or a park you know. Making these connections helps your brain remember the new word better. Imagine linking new words to familiar things, like chains. 2. Visualization. Pictures are powerful for memory. Try to make a picture in your mind for each new word. If you learn apple, imagine a bright red apple, maybe even with a bite taken out of it. The more vivid the picture, the better you will remember the word. Think of your brain as a movie screen, and you are creating short films for each word. 3. Repetition. Practice makes perfect. To really move words into your long-term memory, you need to see them and use them again and again. This is why repeating words is important. Think of repetition as strengthening the path to your memory storage room, like walking the same path many times to make it clear. Sometimes remembering words can be difficult. You might forget words quickly. This is normal. It's called the curve of forgetting. It means that you forget a lot of new information soon after you learn it. But don't worry. Repetition helps to fight against forgetting. The more you repeat and use a word, the less likely you are to forget it. Another challenge is that your short-term memory can only hold a small amount of information at once. Imagine trying to hold too many balls in your hands. You will drop some. To remember more, you can use a trick called chunking. This means grouping things together. For example, instead of remembering a long phone number as 10 separate numbers, you can group them into smaller parts, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 0. This makes it easier for your brain to handle. Let's try a small exercise to test your memory. I will say a few numbers and try to remember them in order. 5, 9, 2, 7, 4. Pause for a few seconds. Now, write them down or say them out loud. That was your short-term memory at work. Let's try to improve it. To improve your memory, you can practice using association and visualization. For example, to remember the word happy, think of a smiling face, visualization, and connect it to a time you felt very happy, association. Repeat the word happy and your picture in your mind several times. Using your brain effectively for memory is like training a muscle. The more you use these techniques, association, visualization, and repetition, the stronger your memory will become for learning new words and many other things. In the next chapter, we will see how to use pictures even more to learn vocabulary. 3. Words and pictures. We learned in the last chapter that our memory works best with things we can see and imagine. This is great news for learning new words. Pictures are very powerful for our brains. Think about it. You can probably remember faces of people you met years ago, but maybe you forget their names easily. Our brains are naturally good at remembering images. Using pictures to learn words is a clever way to use your brain's natural ability. When you learn a new word, don't just read the definition. Try to create a picture in your mind. For example, if you want to remember the word elephant, imagine a big gray elephant with large ears and a long trunk. The more vivid and strange the picture, the better. Make your mental images strong. Imagine the colors, the sounds, even the smells. If the word is delicious, imagine a really tasty cake. See the chocolate, smell the sweet smell, taste how good it is. When you make a strong picture, your brain remembers it better. Flashcards are a useful tool for learning words with pictures. On one side of the card, write the word. On the other side, draw a picture that represents the word. When you study, look at the word and try to remember the picture. Then, look at the picture and try to remember the word. This helps you connect the word with a visual image. For example, if you are learning the word joyful, you could draw a picture of a smiling face or people laughing and playing in the sun. When you see the word joyful, your brain will also see the happy picture, and you will remember the meaning more easily. Now, let's talk about a special technique called the memory palace. It sounds grand, but it's simple. Imagine a place you know very well, like your house or your school. This is your memory palace. To remember a list of words, imagine walking through your memory palace and placing each word as a picture in a different location in that place. Let's say you want to remember these words: book, tree, sun, car. Imagine your front door. At your front door, picture a giant book standing there, so big you can't open the door. Walk into your living room. In the middle of the room, imagine a huge tree growing right through the ceiling. Go to the window. Outside the window, imagine a giant sun, much bigger and brighter than usual. Finally, go to your kitchen. In your kitchen, imagine a car parked right in the middle of the room, maybe even on top of your kitchen table. To remember the words, you just need to take a mental walk through your memory palace. As you walk through your house in your mind, you will see the book at the door, the tree in the living room, the sun at the window, and the car in the kitchen. These pictures will help you remember the words in order. This memory palace technique is very old. People used it long ago to remember long speeches and important information. It works because our brains are very good at remembering places and images. By linking words to places and pictures, you make them easier to remember. You can use your memory palace to learn lists of new words. Choose a place you know well and create vivid pictures for each word in different locations in your palace. Practice walking through your palace in your mind and seeing the pictures. With practice, you will be surprised how many words you can remember using this method. Words and pictures together are a powerful combination for learning and remembering. 4. Finding word friends. Learning new words can sometimes feel like meeting strangers. You see a new word, you try to remember it, but it can easily disappear from your memory, like someone you met once and never saw again. But what if words were not strangers? What if you could find word friends that help you understand and remember new vocabulary? This chapter is about finding these word friends. We will explore how words are connected and how understanding these connections can make learning vocabulary much easier and more interesting. Think about families. People in a family are connected. They share names and often look similar. Words are similar. Many words belong to word families. These families are built on roots, prefixes, and suffixes. Let's start with roots. The root of a word is like the main part of a tree. It gives the main meaning. For example, the root port comes from Latin and means to carry. If you know this root, you can understand many words. Export, to carry out. Import, to carry in. Transport, to carry across. Portable, able to be carried. And report, to carry back information. See how many words become easier to understand when you know just one root? It's like finding a friend who introduces you to their whole family. Prefixes are like the beginning part of a word. They change the meaning of the root. Un is a common prefix that means not. If you add an to happy, you get unhappy, which means not happy. Other common prefixes are again, before, dis, not, and miss, wrongly. Knowing prefixes is like understanding the first name of your word friend. It gives you important information right away. Suffixes are the ending part of a word. They often change the word's grammar, if it is a noun, verb, adjective, or adverb. For example, lie often makes a word an adverb, like quickly or slowly. Wanton and meant often make words nouns, like action or agreement. Full and less are suffixes that make adjectives, like helpful or hopelesses. Suffixes are like the last name of your word friend. They tell you what kind of word it is and how to use it in a sentence. Another way to find word friends is by looking for cognates. Cognates are words in different languages that come from the same origin. Because they share an origin, they often look and sound similar and have similar meanings. If you speak English and are learning Spanish, you are in luck. English and Spanish share many cognates, often from Latin. For example, hospital is hospital in Spanish. Action is action. Important is important. Recognizing cognates is like meeting someone from another country and finding out you have mutual friends. It makes you feel connected immediately. Looking for cognates can make learning vocabulary in a new language much faster and easier. Finally, let's talk about etymology. Etymology is the history of words. It's like finding out where your word friends come from. Knowing the etymology of a word can make it much more memorable because you understand its story. For example, the word volcano comes from the Roman god of fire, Vulcan. Imagine a powerful, fiery god, and suddenly the word volcano becomes much more vivid and easier to remember. Exploring etymology is like learning the interesting backstory of your word friend. It makes them much more real and meaningful to you. Let's practice finding word friends. Take the word predictable. Can you find the prefix? It's pre, meaning before. Can you find the root? It's dict, from Latin dicere, meaning to say. Can you find the suffix? It's able, meaning able to be. So, predictable literally means able to be said before. Now, doesn't the word make more sense? And isn't it easier to remember because you understand its parts? Here's another word, incredible. Prefix in, not root. Cred, from Latin creder, meaning to believe. Suffix able to be. Incredible means not able to be believed. By breaking down words and finding their roots, prefixes, and suffixes, you are not just learning individual words. You are building a network of word friends. You are understanding how words are connected and how they are built. This makes vocabulary learning less like memorizing a list of strangers and more like building relationships with a community of words. And like any good friendship, these word friends will be there to support you in your language journey. 5. Words in action. Learning new words is like collecting tools, but tools are only useful when you use them. Words are the same. Knowing a word is good, but using it is better. This chapter is all about putting your new words into action. Imagine you learn the word delicious. You know it means tasting very good. But just knowing this isn't enough. To really learn delicious, you need to use it. One of the best ways to see words in action is in sentences. Example sentences show you how a word works in a real situation. Look at these examples for delicious. This cake is delicious. We had a delicious dinner last night. The coffee smells delicious. See how delicious is used to describe different things that taste or smell good. Sentences give you context. Context helps you understand the meaning more deeply and remember it better. Now, it's your turn. When you learn a new word, Try to find example sentences. Look in a dictionary or online. Read books and notice how writers use new words. But even better than reading example sentences is creating your own. Think about your life. When could you use the word delicious? Maybe you could say, "My grandmother's soup is always delicious." This fruit juice is so delicious on a hot day. Making your own sentences helps you connect the new word to your own experiences. This makes the word more personal and easier to remember. Learning words in context is not just about sentences. It's also about using them in speaking and writing. Think about speaking. Try to use your new words when you talk to friends, family, or teachers. It might feel strange at first. You might make mistakes. That's okay. Mistakes are part of learning. The more you practice speaking with new words, the more natural it will become. Here are some ideas to practice speaking. Tell a friend about your day and use some new words. Describe a picture using new vocabulary. Practice ordering food in English and use new words to describe the food. Writing is another great way to put words in action. When you write, you have more time to think about your word choices. You can use a dictionary to help you. Writing helps you to really understand how to use a word correctly. Here are some writing ideas. Write a short story and include some new words. Keep a diary or journal and use new words to describe your feelings and experiences. Write an email to a friend and try to use some new vocabulary. To make learning even more fun, try using games and storytelling. Games are a fantastic way to practice words without feeling like you are studying. There are many vocabulary games you can play. For example, word games online or in books, flashcard games with friends, board games that use words. Storytelling is another fun way to use words in action. You can create your own stories and try to include your new vocabulary. Stories help you remember words because they are interesting and engaging. You can tell stories to yourself, to friends, or even write them down. Role-playing is also helpful. Imagine different situations, like ordering food in a restaurant, asking for directions, or talking about your hobbies. Practice these situations with a friend and use your new words. Remember, learning words is not just about reading lists. It's about making words come alive. It's about putting words in action in your speaking and writing. Through sentences, games, and stories. The more you use your new words, the better you will remember them, and the more confident you will become. So, go ahead and put your words in action. It's a fun and effective way to learn. 6. Remembering words. Learning new words is like making friends. You meet them, you spend time with them, and you try to remember their names and faces. But sometimes, words, like names, can be hard to remember. This chapter will look at some good ways to help you remember words better. We have already talked about using pictures and word families. These are great ways to learn new words and understand what they mean. But how do you make sure you don't forget them? One important idea is called spaced repetition. Imagine you learn a new word today. You remember it well, but tomorrow you might forget a little. In a few days, you might forget even more. This is normal. It's like a curve of forgetting. Your memory of something gets weaker over time, especially at the beginning. Spaced repetition helps with this. It means you don't just study a word once and forget about it. You see it again and again, but with spaces in between. For example, you learn a word today. Review it again tomorrow, then again in 3 days, then maybe in a week. By seeing the word regularly, but not too often, you help your brain keep it in your long-term memory. It's like watering a plant, not too much at once, but regularly to keep it growing strong. Forgetting words is a common problem. But there are strategies to help you overcome this. One strategy is to make strong memories in the first place. Think back to our chapter on pictures. When you learn a new word, don't just read its definition. Create a vivid picture in your mind. Make it funny. Make it strange. Make it something you will not easily forget. The stronger and more unusual the picture, the better you will remember the word. Another great tool for remembering words is mnemonics. Mnemonics are memory aids, tricks to help you remember things. We've already discussed memory palaces. This is a type of mnemonic. For words, you can also create shorter mnemonics. For example, to remember the word gregarious, which means sociable, you could think of Greg, who is very gregarious. The sound of the name helps you remember the meaning. Be creative with mnemonics. You can use rhymes, songs, or stories. Anything that makes the word more interesting and easier to recall is helpful. The key is to find mnemonics that work for you. What is funny or memorable for one person might not be for another. Everyone learns in a different way. Some people are visual learners. They remember best when they see pictures. Some are auditory learners. They learn best by hearing. Others are kinesthetic learners. They learn best by doing and moving. Think about your own learning style. Do you like to draw pictures for new words? Do you like to say words out loud? Do you learn best when you use words in sentences and act them out? The best way to remember words is to find a personalized approach that works for you. Experiment with different techniques. Try flashcards with images if you are a visual learner. Try recording yourself saying new words and listen to the recording if you are an auditory learner. Try using your body to act out the meaning of words if you are a kinesthetic learner. Don't be afraid to try different things. What works for your friend might not work for you. The most important thing is to be active in your learning and to find methods that make remembering words easier and more enjoyable for you. Learning new words should be fun, like making new friends. By using these techniques and finding your own best way to remember, you can build a strong and rich vocabulary. 7. Making your own word list. Learning new words is much easier when you focus on words that are useful for you. Think about what you want to do with English. Do you want to travel? Do you need English for your job or studies? Are you learning English to enjoy books and films? Your answers will help you decide what words are important to learn. Instead of trying to learn every new word you see, it's smarter to make your own word list. This list will be your personal collection of words that are relevant to your life and goals. How do you start making your word list? First, think about your interests. Do you enjoy cooking? Maybe you want to learn words related to food and recipes. Are you interested in sports? Then, focus on vocabulary about your favorite sports. When you learn words that are connected to your hobbies, you are more likely to remember them because they are interesting to you. Next, consider your learning goals. If you are studying for an English exam, look at the syllabus or textbook. Make a list of important topics and try to find words related to those topics. If you want to improve your English for work, think about the common situations you face at work. What kind of meetings do you attend? What emails do you write? Identify the vocabulary you need to communicate effectively in these situations. When you find new words, don't just write them down randomly. Organize your word list in a way that makes sense to you. You could organize your list by topic, like food, travel, or work. Another way is to organize by word type, such as nouns, verbs, and adjectives. You could also organize them alphabetically if that helps you. There are many ways to keep your word list. A simple notebook is a good start. You can write the new word, its meaning, and an example sentence. Some people like to use flashcards. Write the word on one side and the meaning and example on the other. Flashcards are great because you can carry them with you and review them anywhere. There are also many digital tools you can use. Use apps on your phone or computer to create and manage your word lists. Some apps even let you add pictures and audio to help you remember. You can also use online spreadsheets or documents to create your lists. Choose a method that you find easy and enjoyable to use regularly. Where can you find words for your list? Everywhere. When you read books, articles, or websites in English, look out for new words. When you watch movies or television shows, pay attention to words you don't know. Listen carefully when you talk to English speakers and note down new vocabulary. Don't forget to look up the meaning of these words in a dictionary and write them down in your word list. There are also many resources that provide word lists already made for you. Look for vocabulary lists for your level of English. Many websites and textbooks offer lists of common words for B1 level learners. You can use these lists as a starting point and then add your own words that are specific to your needs and interests. Remember, the best word list is one that is personal to you and helps you reach your own English learning goals. Making your own word list is an active and clever way to learn words that will really make a difference in your English. 8. Learning words for life. Congratulations! You've come a long way in learning clever ways to build your vocabulary. But learning words is not a race to finish. It's more like a journey that lasts your whole life. This chapter is about making word learning a part of your everyday routine, not just something you do for a test. Imagine your vocabulary as a garden. In the early chapters, you planted seeds. You learned techniques to help words grow in your memory. Now, it's time to think about how to care for your garden over time so it continues to blossom. This means creating a plan for learning words regularly. Think about setting small, realistic goals. Instead of trying to learn 100 new words a week, maybe aim for 5 or 10. Little by little, these words will add up. The key is consistency. Just like you eat regularly to keep your body strong, you need to learn words regularly to keep your vocabulary growing. How can you make word learning a habit? Find ways to bring words into your daily life. When you read a book or article, don't just skip over words you don't know. Take a moment to look them up. Keep a small notebook or use an app on your phone to write down new words and their meanings. Try to use these new words when you speak or write. This active use will help you remember them better. Think about moments in your day where you can fit in a little word learning. Perhaps you can learn a new word while you are having your morning coffee or during your commute to work or school. Even a few minutes each day can make a big difference over time. It's like the idea of deliberate practice. Small amounts of focused effort, done regularly, lead to big improvements. Tracking your progress can also be helpful. Keep your word list and look back at it regularly. See how many words you've learned over a month or a year. This can be very motivating and show you how far you have come. Remember, it's not about being perfect, it's about making progress. Don't worry if you forget some words. Forgetting is normal. The important thing is to keep learning. Learning new words should also be enjoyable. A rich vocabulary opens up a whole new world. It helps you understand more of what you read and hear. It makes your own speaking and writing more interesting and precise. It can even make you feel more confident and smarter. Think about the satisfaction of finally understanding a complicated book or having the perfect word to express your thoughts. A bigger vocabulary also means you can enjoy books, films, and conversations more deeply. You'll find more nuances in stories and understand different points of view more easily. It's like having a richer experience of life itself. So, make a plan, set small goals, and make word learning a habit. Track your progress and celebrate your successes. Most importantly, remember to enjoy the journey. Learning words is a lifelong adventure. And the rewards of a rich vocabulary are immeasurable. Keep growing your word garden, and you will find it brings you joy and knowledge for life.
Hey there! Just a second before you go. If you learned something new today, please give this video a like, write your thoughts in the comments, and subscribe to the channel. It only takes a second, and it really, really helps to create even better English videos for you. Your support means the world. Thank you.